लोगों की जब शादी पक्की हुई, so he was the first person to be there at the reception and the last person to leave. दुख इस बात का था कि झगड़ा हुआ ही नहीं था और फिर भी मेरे से नाराज थे. That was a very very tough part for me. Nowadays people say that झगड़ा होता है तो झगड़े को मिटा के फिर सो. I feel that's the worst thing. Hi everyone, you're watching us
in Valentine special
on ETimes.
So welcome Bhagyashree ji and Himalay ji to this very special episode which will be close to our hearts because we are going to, do a Valentine special with you. And
Thank you.
When it comes to love story, your love story is nothing less than a Bollywood movie.
Thank you.
We have read about it a lot, and the best thing, while I decided to do this interaction, I was going through a lot of social media comments, when it comes to social media, videos and all of that, and there is so much of interest knowing about you, and that is across generation, which really impressed me a lot. So I want to know something from you about it.
मैंने प्यार किया के बाद everyone declared him the villain.
बिल्कुल.
So
क्योंकि दुनिया के दिल की धड़कन को मैंने चुरा लिया था, तो suddenly I became the villain everybody wanted, and they wanted to know who I was because I had no Bollywood background that time.
Correct, true.
So everyone wanted to know कि who I am, what I am, कौन है ये,
कौन? Yeah.
तो जाहिर है कि सब लोग जानना चाहते थे कि मतलब क्या है इनमें जो भाग्यश्री इनके पीछे फिदा हो गई. So, I think पर लोगों को जब हमारी स्मार्ट जोड़ी जब उन्होंने देखी तब I think there were a lot of women who actually fell in love with him and told their husbands कि भाई ऐसा पति होना चाहिए.
Yeah, and that time, that was not an era of social media and all. So curiosity उतनी जल्दी कब नहीं होती थी.
कब नहीं होती थी, correct.
So how people were reacting to you. Were they coming and asking you questions, or they were still hesitant? People from your industry.
Industry से दूरी तो थी. I think the only person where I really spoke to was Salman, and they were common friends. तो सलमान तो इनके बारे में सब कुछ जानता था.
And how was his reaction? Because that time you were shooting together.
Yes. He started off with teasing me because I hadn't told him about Himalay ji, and he came to know from somewhere else. It was quite funny actually because I thought he was flirting with me, and suddenly he goes like Dil Deewana bin Sajna ke, and I was like, why are you behaving like this? So then he told me that he knows about him, and then of course he said anything that you need, any help that you need, let me know, I'm always there. In fact हम लोगों की जब शादी पक्की हुई, so he was the first person to be there at the reception and the last person to leave.
How nice.
So yeah.
And that time I think you had gone to US, right?
I was in the US. I had come back from the US. Yes. That time.
So how was your reaction? To she being in movies and all of that.
We were in love. We were in school together.
Correct.
So the school and the college story went on, and that whole period of uncertainty as to what our future is, या आगे क्या करने वाले हैं. So that all got settled at one point of time. So I was very happy and ecstatic about the whole thing,
About getting married to me.
Yeah.
He was very worried before that कि अब गई कबूतर उड़न शुरू हो गया.
But Bhagyashree ji, you were way ahead of your times. That time when people say, "Nee, don't get into movies," you got into movies. Then they say, "No, you are at peak of your career." Or people are you are getting so much of attention. So now please don't get married or don't quit movies.
Yeah.
So you've done everything against, probably what in conventional advice would have been.
That's true, but I think it's all about belief in a certain thing. मैंने प्यार किया, of course everyone knows, just by chance happened to me. I hadn't really thought कि भाई फिल्मों में काम करना है. बस सूरज जी इतने शिद्दत से आके वो स्क्रिप्ट नरेट की that I had no reason to say no. But once I was in the movies, it was during the course of making of मैंने प्यार किया that I really enjoyed the whole process and thought this was my calling. But at the same time, like he just said, he was in States, and when he came back and he saw this whole different world that I was involved in, there was that nervousness and a little skeptical about कि
कर
like
ली,
I
हाँ.
said कि अब इसमें वो गई तो फिर मेरे हाथ से निकल जाएगी.
So what were the things that you did to ensure, you know, that doesn't happen? She's not she's not going anywhere.
No, it was not unsure or anything at all. मेरे हाथ से नहीं जाने वाली वो बात भी नहीं थी. You know, in fact, it was too early. She had some problems at her home, and her parents were not ready for the marriage and all that. So she decided that this is it, and we have to get married now. For me, it was too early and it was shocking. But of course, the circumstances, you know, we couldn't postpone it, we couldn't do anything at all. So we decided कि भाई चलो we'll have to get married. And we decided to have an early marriage.
But I was reading about it. I think you have put in a lot of efforts, you know, to convince her parents. So how was that?
Yes, yes, he did.
So my parents were very sure कि भाई, you know, we must get the permission, we must get their blessings.
True.
So I went to the house. In fact, my father also went to the house to meet them and tell them that the kids are in love. So let us, you know, give them the blessings. But at that point of time, they were very adamant and they had their own views.
Correct.
And they were not ready to give us their blessings. So after a lot of trying, we still decided, चलो now वो तो नहीं आने वाले हैं, but we have to get married. We decided to get married.
And after marriage, how was it for you? Because there is a certain cultural shift that happens.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think that happens irrespective of even a different religion or anything like that. I think जब लड़की अपना घर छोड़ के दूसरे के घर में जाती है तो that difference of lifestyle, of the way you live your everyday, that's bound to be there. In this case, of course, there was a completely different lifestyle that was there.
Yeah.
I come from a nuclear family. There was a very huge family. पहले तो मतलब
Typical मारवाड़ी big family, joint culture, खाना पीना साथ में, बहुत सारे लोग होते हर चीज के अंदर. You know, and we live a very larger than life. मतलब घर में खाना पीना, गेस्ट आना जाना बहुत होता है, जो इनके परिवार में नहीं होता ऐसा. So they live a more simple, compact life.
Yeah.
It was more difficult.
हमारे घर में मेला लगा होता है, you know.
और सबके नाम जानना तो it was oh my god. It was like please मुझे एक family tree बता दो. क्योंकि इतने बुआ, इतने मासी, इतने cousins and him being the eldest, जब इतने time के बाद शादी हो रही थी, everyone wanted to be there और सब लोग बोलते थे कि भाई हमको नई बहू से मिलाओ. तो सबके नाम याद रखने में तो नानी याद आ गए.
But how were the relatives, you know, reaction? Because she being a movie star.
No, the film had not released when we
later,
got married.
Later, I think.
Film got released much later. We got married much earlier. But irrespective of that, becoming a very successful movie star was a different thing altogether. Because I was the eldest, हमारे घर में as it is बहुत प्यार था. तो वो आई तो इसको प्यार दुलार मतलब सब पागल हो रहे थे इसके ऊपर. You know, which was and anybody हमारे घर में कोई भी होगा, मतलब मेरी बहन भी होगी या मेरे भाई भी होंगे. तो the relationship, you know, doesn't make any difference of your background or where you come from.
True. And you know, when we get married, we talk about, you know, a lot of things changing in a woman's life, but there are a lot of things change in the male's life, or the partner's life also. Yeah. So were there any things that you remember?
Oh, majorly. मतलब
No, see, I'll tell you. दो घर हो, चाहे वो एक ही तरह के हो, मतलब मराठी हो, गुजराती हो, मारवाड़ी हो, दो अलग अलग घर होंगे तो उनका भी रहना खाना पीना अलग होता है. यहाँ पे तो ड्रामेटिक शिफ्ट था. From a Maharashtrian family, she came into a Marwadi family. ठीक है?
No, but you should not ask
me. No, I'll tell you. So for her, there were a lot of changes. For her, there were a lot of changes. खाना रहना पीना मेरे लिए तो सब सेम था. Nothing changes. मेरा घर भी वही, परिवार भी वही, सब वही था. The only thing that changed was my lifestyle. Because पहले क्या था, शाम को 7:30 बजे तक ऑफिस से जब तक आप वापस आओ तो नीचे दोस्त की गाड़ियाँ आ जाती थी और वो हॉर्न बजाते थे या सीटी बजाते थे, and you would go down, sit in the car and you would go. फिर आपको अब 11-12 बजे आ रहे थे. अच्छा, because I was young, I was only barely about 20 years when I got married. तो मेरे बाकी सब दोस्त तो बैचलर थे. उनको ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा था कि मेरी शादी हो गई है. तो फिर भी रोज शाम को अपनी गाड़ी लेके आ जाते थे, वीकेंड में जाते थे, चलो भाई पार्टी करनी है, क्या करना है. और ये बोलते थे कि भाई ये सब को आप हमेशा अपने साथ में ये बंदर की टोली क्यों लेके चलते थे, ये वानर सेना सब हमेशा, बिकॉज वी कुड नॉट गो एनीवेयर अलोन. एंड दे डोंट अंडरस्टैंड. नहीं, हम तो साथ में ही है ना, दोस्त तो साथ में है. सो देन दे बिकेम हर वेरी क्लोज फ्रेंड्स एज वेल. बट ये होता था रोज रात को, चलो भाई मैं नहीं यार, अब नहीं आ सकता, भाग्यश्री इज वेरी अपसेट, भाग्यश्री गेटिंग अपसेट. सो दैट वाज द ओनली
that was like the major
shift that happened, you know.
But 20 years, you know, too young. Like today people sit in plans. Now when you look back, you know, when your love story is celebrated so much, probably that time you wouldn't have, you know, calculated it so much. It was an organic move for you.
Absolutely. I think nothing was planned at all. And we've taken taken life as it comes.
As it comes,
You know,
yeah.
because
I think the beauty of the situation is that दोनों इकट्ठे बड़े हुए. You know, we kind of grew on to one another. We tried to adjust to one another as time passed by. ये नहीं कि भाई मन मुटाव नहीं हुआ. But we tried to adjust that
मन
because
मुटाव भी होता है, झगड़ा भी होता है, मेकअप भी करते हैं. सो मैच्योरिटी के अंदर आदमी को ये समझ में आता है कि भाई दो इंडिविजुअल है, दो अलग अलग पर्सपेक्टिव्स होंगे लाइफ के कोई भी चीज को लेके. तो वी फाइट, इट्स नॉट दैट वी डोंट फाइट, वी फाइट एंड वी मेकअप. Actually, I make up. She never makes up. I am the one who makes up.
Well, you
कभी
always
नहीं
make the
makeup
mistakes,
करती. I am the only one who always
But you know,
makes
to
up.
accept mistakes is also a big thing.
Yeah.
That is also people find it challenging.
Yes.
We have agreed and decided that anything that goes wrong is my mistake. Eventually, वही होने वाला है.
I think that's the best.
And I've accepted that also. I've accepted that also.
But you know, on a serious note, I really want to ask you this. You know, in today's world, probably exposure to so many things, relationships are, I don't want to use the word fragile, but what has happened is it's too easy to give up. A lot of people face this problem.
Yeah, you know, in fact, I've seen a lot of youngsters right now, जैसे
Yeah.
हमारे बच्चे, उनके दोस्त लोग हैं, no, that's what, they get into relationships very easily and they break away also from relationships very. हम लोग एक बार डिसाइड करते थे तो भाई then that was it.
हाँ.
And also, I think हमारे बीच में we would compromise a lot on
True.
what your like is, dislike is, adjust to each other. You know, keep on doing that. And I think it's not one time. It's a process. You have to keep on doing
it's
it.
an everyday
It's an
situation
everyday
that
thing,
the
because
balances change.
कुछ
you
ना
know?
कुछ बदलते रह रहा है दुनिया में, जिंदगी के अंदर, समय में, कहाँ जा रहे हो, काम क्या कर रहे हो, हर चीज के अंदर. तो आपने ऐसा तो नहीं बोलते ना कि आज मैंने एडजस्ट कर लिया, आज के बाद मैं नहीं करूँगा. नहीं. Adjust is the part and process of life. Compromise the part and process of life. And it's not only in a husband-wife relationship. आप ऑफिस में जाते हैं, आप जहाँ काम करते हैं, if you want to be successful, you have to be able to adjust and compromise with the given scenario.
Correct.
Find the best, take the best of that scenario, and then move ahead from there.
Yeah.
Learn from that and move ahead. Learn from that and move ahead. Keep growing, keep evolving. Relationships are all about that, you know.
True.
100%.
But I think what you said, you know, that is really impressive about the compromise bit. Because people these days, like, you know, it is actually from मैंने प्यार किया to मैंने प्यार क्यों किया. That has the situation right now.
True.
And so that compromise without making the opposite person feel that we are
Also,
actually.
I feel very sad now. जैसे हमारे जमाने में ना एक रोमांस हुआ करता था.
Correct.
You know,
Agreed.
आज वो रोमांस कहीं देखने को सुनने को भी नहीं मिलता है.
Agreed.
That whole love story का process has died out. I remember when I was in school, just to be able to tell her I like you, 2 साल लग गए मुझे बोलते बोलते के अंदर, you know, और सब दोस्तों को मालूम था, रोज छेड़खानी हो रही थी.
Even to catch each other's
You were
hand.
aware?
Even to catch each other's hand, मतलब
कॉलेज के अंदर we were together, we were dating, but I would not touch her.
touching each other's
मतलब
hand
ऐसे भी
was like,
पकड़ने में
oh
भी
my
नहीं होता. जिस दिन
god.
पकड़ लिया उस दिन बोला 7 दिन हाथ नहीं धोने वाला हूँ.
मतलब वही चीज
You know?
थी जो मैंने प्यार किया में था ना कि
हाँ.
आयोडेक्स लगाने वाला सीन तो वाकई उस जमाने का प्यार कुछ ऐसा ही था.
You know, we would give a rose, you would write a poem, you would do small things.
Small
Not कोई
things.
बड़ी चीज करने की
Yeah.
थी. But वो romance was there. Here I don't see romance. I don't, मतलब ना सुनने में आता है, ना कुछ देखने में आता है. कभी कभी कोई शेर शायरी अच्छी सुन लेते हैं. But other than that, you don't see that. So I feel very sad for the youngsters today.
Yeah.
That emotion has died away. They are not
True.
able to enjoy or live that emotion.
Yeah.
You know,
I
which is
think
very
that
sad.
those small gestures had a longer impact.
Much longer.
I
you know.
also feel that in any relationship उसकी नींव बनाने के लिए समय लगता है, टाइम लगता है. जैसे एक छोटा सा पौधा होता है, आप कुंडी में डालते हो, फिर खत डालते हो, पानी डालते हो, उसको धूप भी चाहिए, पानी भी चाहिए, प्यार भी चाहिए.
Correct.
सो उसमें टाइम लगता है फॉर इट टू बिकम अ माइटी ट्री.
Sure.
Once it becomes a tree, then it can weather all the storms, but you have to give it that time.
Yeah.
And I think people right now don't invest that time into relationships, and that's where it goes wrong.
Taken for granted, taking
Yeah.
each other for granted has become very easy.
True,
And then you
true.
get disappointed because you've taken for granted and the person has not performed the way you wanted him to behave or
Correct.
perform. And then you get disappointed.
True. And you said you took around 2 years, you know, even to express.
Yeah, yeah.
So were you aware in those 2 years?
Kind
I
of.
would love to know those
See, the
initial
friends
days.
used to
You
come
know,
and
I
the
tell you,
friends used to come and tell.
when we look back and we think and we say, क्या हम लोग बच्चे थे? We used to sit on the same bench. हमारे स्कूल में in Jamnabai Nursery in Bombay, bench पे 2 जन बैठते थे. So for years she would sit on my right side, I would sit on the left side. Boys as boys would be कभी पेंसिल नहीं, कभी पेन नहीं, कभी बुक नहीं, कभी पेपर नहीं, कभी टीचर चिल्ला रही है, अच्छा दोस्त लोग सारे पीछे आजू बाजू में तो मस्ती चल रही है.
हाँ.
She was a very studious, सीधी सादी एकदम मतलब किसी से बात नहीं करना, ये नहीं करना। जब ये किसी से बात नहीं करे तो इसको छेड़ने में और मजा आता था, क्योंकि छेड़ते तो ये छेड़ जाती थी, तो ये बहुत गुस्सा करती थी, झगड़ा करती थी मेरे साथ। तो मेरे हाथ पे कॉन्स्टेंटली इसके नाखून के निशान होते थे। हम लोग साथ में बैठे थे और मैं कुछ बोल देता तो ये हाथ से ऐसे नाखून से मेरे हाथ में नाखून मार देती थी। ये हमारे 6th स्टैंडर्ड 7th स्टैंडर्ड 8th स्टैंडर्ड में ये चलते रहता।
मतलब पंखा ऑन या ऑफ रहना चाहिए, इस पे झगड़ा होता था।
अच्छा,
लाइक द एंटायर क्लास वुड वेट टू सी कि अब कौन सी साइड इज गोइंग टू विन।
ये हमारा झगड़ा चलता था। उसके बाद में आई थिंक यही झगड़ा, नोक झोंक, यही मस्ती एक दूसरे के साथ में चलते चलते हमारी दोस्ती हो गई। देन हमारे एग्जाम जब आए तो वी वर स्टडीइंग टुगेदर।
देन आई वाज रियली बैड इन मैथ्स एंड ही वाज रियली गुड। मेरे सारे दूसरे सब्जेक्ट्स में फर्स्ट क्लास आ जाता था, और मैथ्स होते ही मतलब मेरी बैंड बज जाती थी, एंड आई न्यू दैट ही वाज वेरी गुड। तो मैंने इनसे कहा कि भाई आप मुझे प्लीज सिखा दो। तो नंबर्स सिखाते सिखाते आंखें चारों
मैथ्स या मैथ्स
मुझे नहीं लगता है, मुझे अब व्हेन आई लुक बैक मुझे ऐसा समझ में आता है कि इट वाज नॉट मैथ्स, इट वाज एन एक्सक्यूज टू स्टे मोर विद मी एंड स्पेंड माय टाइम, बिकॉज़ दिस वाज आफ्टर स्कूल। स्कूल जब खत्म होता था,
झगड़ा करना पड़ेगा, व्हाट डू यू नीड,
खत्म हो जाता है आफ्टर स्कूल शी यूज्ड टू से कि कैन वी सिट डाउन फॉर 1 more hour एंड टीच मी। सब चले गए, अब मैं इसको मैथ सिखा रहा हूँ। तो अब मुझे समझ में आ रहा है कि मैं तो कितना नाइव था, कितना भोला बच्चा था।
नहीं, मैं सीखी मैथ्स,
और
आई गॉट वेरी गुड मार्क्स।
में 1 घंटा मेरे साथ में रोज अकेले बैठने के लिए ये स्कीम बना ली थी।
अच्छा,
टुडे आई लुक बैक एंड आई सेड अरे यार क्या बुद्धू राम था मैं तो।
but anyway something you're putting efforts for 2 years.
Exactly.
You know, maths, I think maths became instrumental.
maths has been instrumental.
And I was also reading, I don't know how far that's true, but I would love to know from you that when your parents got to know about, you know, your liking for each other, they also changed your institute. Is that right?
Not his.
Not mine.
They told me to stop meeting him at all, and I was someone who believed कि माँ बाप ने जो कहा है वो करना चाहिए, and I knew, and that's what they said, that if you just tell him that it's because of us, he will keep insisting and he would wait for you.
Correct.
तो आपको ऐसी दूरी बनानी है इनसे कि ये आपसे नफरत करें।
I'm telling you, it's a पूरा Bollywood
Yeah. So one fine day, college के अंदर she comes and says, I am not going to meet you, I am not going to talk to you, and I don't have anything to do, without giving me any reason, any excuse at all, completely. मैंने बोला हुआ क्या ये तो बताओ, मतलब what have I done wrong, क्यों झगड़ा करके क्यों टूट, but she just broke up with me.
Like I didn't want to lie to him,
Correct.
and at the same time I wanted to listen to what my parents said.
So that was a trying, very trying
Very
time.
difficult period for
Very
him.
difficult because समझ ही नहीं आ रहा था क्या हो रहा
अचानक,
था।
correct.
I went through a very bad, heartbroken, मतलब एकदम complete आशिक देवदास वाला सिनारियो। ये कॉलेज छोड़ दी, we were in Juhu in Mithi Bai College, and I went to HR, and I joined HR because I said सुबह, and HR टाउन में था, हमारी ऑफिस नरीमन पॉइंट में हुआ करती थी उस टाइम। तो सुबह 7 बजे से 10 बजे कॉलेज, एंड देन डैड सेड चलो ऑफिस आना शुरू कर दो। उसी दौरान के अंदर आई हैड सम फ्रेंड्स हु मूव्ड टू अमेरिका।
अच्छा।
सो विद दैट इवन आई मूव्ड टू अमेरिका देन, सो आई वाज लिविंग इन लॉस एंजलिस फॉर अ व्हाइल। तो वहाँ पे हम लोग 3-4 दोस्त लोग साथ में रहते थे, काम भी शुरू किया, वी स्टार्टेड अ कंपनी, पढ़ाई भी कर रहे थे और छुट्टियों में वापस आना जाना होता था। बट माई मदर वॉज नॉट, बिकॉज इकलौता बेटा, 2 बहनें थी, तो शी वॉज नॉट वेरी कीन कि भाई आई वुड शिफ्ट टू अमेरिका, व्हाटएवर, आई शुड कम बैक। एंड शी ऑल्सो रियलाइज कि भाई साहब इट्स टेकन ऑफ।
She also realized I said taken off, excuse me. मेरे यहाँ दूसरा सिनेरियो था, मतलब लिटरली एक बॉनफायर बना के जो खत थे, जो चीजें थी,
फुल
वो बोली गई,
आई एम टेलिंग यू, फिल्म बन सकती है।
वो एक्चुअली बोली गई कि भाई उसमें स्वाहा कर दो, बिकॉज दिस शुडंट हैपन। तो कर दिया। देन आई टोल्ड माई पेरेंट्स दैट ओके आई विल गेट मैरिड टू हुएवर यू वांट मी टू गेट मैरिड, डोंट आस्क मी टू से यस।
Okay.
आप मुझे बिठा दो, मैं बैठ जाऊंगी, शादी करूंगी, शादी निभाऊंगी, पर ये कभी मत पूछना कि मेरी मर्जी से हुई है कि नहीं, क्योंकि नहीं हुई मेरी मर्जी।
And they wouldn't have agreed to that, right?
So they didn't.
Yeah, because
Saying हाँ तो बोलना पड़ेगा। मैंने कहा हाँ तो जरूर नहीं बोलूंगी, मैं कभी नहीं बोलूंगी, क्योंकि मेरा मन दिल सब इनके पास है। So this went on for a 1.5 years actually, and by the time when he'd come back, I said भाई 1 साल तक मैंने अपनी जिंदगी आप पे लिख दी और you didn't find anyone, you didn't tell me to get married. अब मैं अपनी जिंदगी चुन लूंगी।
And when I came back, I used to go to meet my friends in the college. फिर हमारी एक बार मुलाकात हुई, ऐसे ही we spoke.
But there was any way you were in touch with her?
No.
No, touch
Because
at
there
all.
was no
complete-
SMS वाला
No,
thing.
ज़माना ही
No,
नहीं था,
no,
ना
it
phone
wasn't
था,
about,
कुछ नहीं था.
it wasn't about SMS. It was about the way I had broken up with him.
Yeah.
I wanted him to hate me.
Okay.
And from my side, I said I want to be absolutely crystal clear कि
एकदम-
आजकल जमाने में बोलते हैं when you love someone, set them free, and if
Yeah.
they are yours, they'll come back to you. I actually believed in that.
The
I said,
relationship was completely severed.
it
There
was
was no
like
contact at all whatsoever, not even through a friend.
So you were actually not aware what's going on in her
No,
life, and
no,
she was
zero.
not.
so when he came back, we actually met as friends over a cup of coffee.
Coffee.
Literally.
But
कि
wasn't
भाई-
that difficult moment?
Of
I
course,
believe
you don't know
for me-
what's
of course,
for
it
me,
was so
those
difficult.
Those 2 years, 1.5, 2 years were the worst period of my life, because for me
Yeah.
every day hard, and वो pain, वो प्यार, and when you're younger, you're even more passionate
Correct.
about that
And
feelings
the first
that.
love.
And the first
And the
love.
first
Yeah.
love.
And also I have no reason. मतलब क्यों
Correct.
हुआ? There is no understanding of what happened. But anyway, we met and we started talking. Of course, I still loved her. मतलब मेरे लिए तो कोई सवाल ही नहीं था. But I realized that there was something on her side also, you know. And then we again started talking and meeting and all that. And then it just.
The work, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she
yes,
started
that
shooting
time,
already
yes.
for the film.
So you used to go on sets and all, or
No.
You are
No.
No. It was like I said I don't want to be known as a girlfriend. I don't want people to talk dirty
Correct.
about us or write about us, because our relationship was very pure.
Yeah.
So I wanted that purity to remain, and he himself also said that that's not my scenario, so that's not where I'm going to come. So we maintained that distance till my parents started saying कि नहीं तुम छुप के मिलती हो, and I said absolutely not, and it hurt me to no extent because I've been so truthful. I mean, I just told them that I gave up the love of my life. For a year and a half I did not meet him, and after that if I'm supposed to hear that नहीं तुम झूठ बोल रही हो, that really pained me. So I said now I have to be his, and अभी जैसे बोलते हैं ना डंके की चोट पे ये है मेरा.
Exactly.
So that's what happened, and then of course it wasn't like a fight in my house,
Okay.
but my parents disagreed to that, and I stood my ground, and I said no matter what, this is the person in my life, and I don't care if you don't want us to get married, but I will meet him. I will not get married till I have your blessings,
Yeah.
but I will meet him. To which they were very upset, obviously, and they said this is something that will not happen in our house. So I said then you leave me no choice, and I will have to leave the house because he is part of my life, and that's how we got married.
And later, how was your family's reaction? You know, gradually things
Oh,
changed.
it took a very, very long time.
Huh.
It took way beyond, even Abhimanyu. When I was pregnant, my dad met me. My mom refused to meet me.
Refused to.
So it was, I think for a girl, that was the toughest time.
True.
When it happens simultaneously, like at your wedding, you don't have your parents, and then
Yeah.
you are pregnant with your first child, and you don't have your parents, and it's not
Very
like
young age.
Very
yeah,
young age
and
also.
it's not like कि कुछ झगड़ा हुआ है.
Correct,
You know, दुख इस बात का था कि झगड़ा हुआ ही नहीं था, और फिर भी मेरे से नाराज थे.
Correct.
मैंने कभी उनके खिलाफ नहीं बोला, कभी उनको दुख नहीं पहुंचाया.
Correct.
And that was a very, very tough part for me.
Yeah.
But I feel when you've gone through that, it's made me much stronger. It's changed my perception of who I am as a person, and I've realized that there's far more strength in me than I thought there would be.
And how your kids react to your love story? I mean, you know, I'm sure they'll keep on asking.
Oh
you.
my God!
God,
Oh.
they are conscious saying that because between the two of us, I am very vocal and very romantic.
Romantic,
Also, ये तो कंट्रोल में रहती है.
He
And मैं तो-
embarrasses them.
मैं हाँ तो my son and daughter both बोलते हैं डैड प्लीज नाउ ग्रो अप, हमारा टाइम है ये सब करने का. ऐसे तुम तुम्हारे समय में कर रहे हो, मैं अपने समय में करने वाला. Nothing is going to stop me, you know. So I'm a die hard romantic buff, you know. मैं क्या करूँ? मैं हूँ
He's
ऐसा।
become like this.
Was it over the years? Was it over the years?
Yeah, yeah.
I think I've fallen in
Definitely.
love again with her. Now more I've fallen in love with her. You know.
I think pehle was all the Maine Pyar Kiya romance was all mine for the first half of the journey. Like
Yeah.
he said, balancing.
Balance.
So I said, now I've given up. Now you do all the balancing.
Yeah. So now I'm the more romantic one.
Yeah. And what's that one advice, you know, you always have for your kids, you know, when it comes to relationship, gradually over the years, they'll be in a committed relationship. What's that one thing you would like to tell them?
Don't give up. That's
Don't
our
give up.
song.
That's don't
That's
give up.
our
Absolutely.
song.
You know, don't give up at all. You know, then there is nothing written on the wall. There is nothing carved in the stone कि यही सही है या यही गलत है. It is always a situation. Try to sit back, analyze it, look at it in a more objective manner and understand. You know, don't take immediate and impetuous relationship.
Yeah.
Decisions को लेकर फिर एक reaction करना वो जरूरी नहीं है. थोड़ा सा calmly, peacefully बैठो साइड पे, थोड़ा समय दो उसको, सोचो. I'm sure समय everything will solve itself out. You know.
You know, nowadays people say that झगड़ा होता है तो झगड़े को मिटा के फिर सो. I feel that's the worst thing because if you're talking about today's kids, they'd probably be drunk, they'd be hungover. और उस वक्त या गुस्से में
मूड आपका टेम्परेचर चढ़ा हुआ है
तो आप क्या कुछ कह दोगे और दूसरे इंसान को दुख पहुंचेगा. So it's better नहीं ना, बात मत करो, सो जाओ, अलग अलग कमरे में जाके सो जाओ, सवेरे आके शांति से बात करो. That's the time करने की
उस समय हो सकती थी. कोई भी चीज के लिए कोई सेट रूल नहीं है. हर इंसान अलग है, हर परिस्थिति अलग होती है, उस समय का झगड़ा अलग होता है.
Correct.
कोई चीज मतलब नथिंग इज सेक्रेट.
Correct.
So you have to find your own middle ground and understand between the two of you कि भाई आज झगड़ा करके इसको खत्म करना है कि कल सुबह आराम से बैठ करके इसको रिजॉल्व करना है. तो ये जरूरी है. We have to, everybody has to find their own peace with the people. You know?
Correct. And you mentioned that, you know, you are romantic.
Yeah.
So do you remember or do you have those things, anything you did during those days on Valentine?
Ask me. There was a time where I was outside and I returned back home and I said, सोचा भी नहीं Valentine's Day है, कितना काम पड़ा है घर में और घर was a mess. And I came in and every place that he thought कि भाग्यश्री बाहर से आती है तो कहाँ जाती है, वहाँ पे एक मुझे गुलाब मिला.
And it was not seen. ये कबर्ड खोलेगी तो यहाँ पे सब जगह के अंदर.
It was like a huge
something like that. One day I just bought tickets कि हमने को we are going traveling, चलो पैक के बैग, हम आधे घंटे में निकल रहे हैं. शॉक था.
So yeah.
हर समय अलग होता है, कभी क्या कर सकते हैं, पर करना कुछ होना चाहिए. You should try and do something. Make the person feel important, loved, wanted. You know, that's the whole thing.
And sometimes you never get out of bed.
Yeah, that also. Go into a hotel, take TV, खाना, सोना. साथ में बस.
Just relax.
True. And you know, social media pe I'm also checking, you know, when you have videos together, there are so many comments where people find it very relatable. So we know that there is a star there on the Insta handle, but we can relate. So that, how do you keep yourself, you know, even on social
I think we
media?
are just very grounded
We
people.
are very natural. जो है वैसा ही है और सबको सबके लिए है वो. You know,
In fact,
we don't have to make up our life or to show what it is not. ऐसा है, ये है, and this is for everybody.
In fact, I would like to say all to the viewers that please understand that social media पे stars रहते हैं, लेकिन हम भी आप जैसे इंसान हैं. हमारे रगों में भी खून दौड़ता है, हमें भी दुख होता है, यहाँ से आंसू भी निकलते हैं, हम लोग झगड़ा भी कर लेते हैं.
मेरी पिटाई भी होती है.
नहीं, ये गलत है. साइज देखिए. No, but all said and done कि हम लोग इंसान हैं आप जैसे. तो कभी-कभी जब हमारा दिल दुखता है, दर्द होता है, तब आप जब उस पे नमक डालते हो तो बहुत दर्द होता है, बहुत लगता है. So try and keep your comments as sensitive with empathy and apathy towards what other people are doing. And it's not just stars to anyone on social media. I feel it's so important to just be understanding to another human being.
I think that's a lovely message and it really needs to be conveyed. I really thank you for this wonderful conversation. And I'm sure you know people are going to enjoy this Valentine special. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.